Hello. Welcome to this new video. This time we're going to be talking about password list and user list that you can use with different tools for different purposes, right? I created a video some time ago on how to test password and credentials using Hydra. And Hydra is a tool that some malicious actors can use to create password sprays and try to crack user credentials using passwords. So my goal is to expand on that knowledge because one of the things that you need to keep in mind when performing password audits or performing any type of password testing is that it's going to be as strong as your password list, the list that you are using. We've talked about how, like Kali Linux, or there are many built-in tools within Kali or tools that you can download from different sources. And one of the most popular one is Rockio. But here on this GitHub repo, you have different type of also password list and hashes that have been compiled and put into one repository for you to use as you need, right? And I'm gonna leave the link on the description of the video. Kudos to Daniel. I mean, he's worked on many security projects, and here's a comprehensive set of lists that you can use, including some hashes that you can use to perform your tests or your audits in your environment. So another thing that I have that I want to go over today is that you can use tools to create passwords or to create meaningful lists. By tools, I'm talking about commands or tools that somebody else wrote, and you can download them and run them. And that's what we've been doing, like those who work in security, we've been doing that for years, right? Like we've been using tools, downloading tools, compiling tools, and creating our tool set that we could use for the job. But now with AI, like chatgpt and Google Gemini, you can also create your password list depending on the criteria that you're looking for. As you can see here, one of my prompts was generate a list of 20 animal related passwords where passwords are between 5 and 8 characters long, including an abroad character and a special character. And this is the list that was generated by Gemini. And you could do the same thing with ChatGPT. And you could use this tool now that we're using or that AI is more embraced and is easier to use. We can practice and we can learn a lot by creating prompts and interacting with the tool. And I believe that many of the security tools that we were using, I'm not going to say all because there are certain tools that do very specific things. But tools such as password generators and things like that, you can rely on that on ChatGPT or Gemini for that. But let's talk about tools because it may be that you are in an engagement where you do not have internet access for whatever reason, right? I mean, it happens. It's very common that you go into a place that does not provide internet access and you need to have everything on you to perform the job or to collect the evidence or to collect the information that you need. One of the tools that I came across some time ago is cewl or CEWL. I believe it's pronounced cewl. And what that's going to do for you is a pretty nice tool because you can script it, or actually it's already a script, but you can keep improving the configuration of the tool to run it on different sites. And in this case, I said before that there are some tools that you can use to crawl a site, and if you don't have access to, for instance, ChatGPT or the internet, You may not be able to use a tool. This is not the case. However, you could use this tool against internal sites also to collect information. So, but let me talk about the tool because I'm saying too many things. So let me do -H, see if there's any description here on this tool. And there's no description, but the usage is very simple. What this tool is going to do is going to crawl pages on a site, and depending on your criteria, it's going to generate a list of keywords that you could use later, or you can use to create another list, or you could use for customizations. And that is super useful because when you are performing engagements, usually, I'm not going to say it always, but we humans, we tend to use, or we used to, I mean, that has changed a lot. We used to tend, and I believe it happens still, to use passwords related to the place where we work or the industry where we work in, right? So if you work in healthcare, chances are that the password may be related to healthcare words, keywords, right? That we come up and that's a normal thing. That's a behavior that we need to change, and that's something that is improving too over the years. But it is something useful that you could use as you're collecting information on a site. So the basic use of the tool is pretty simple. So you would type the command. Obviously, you need to download it. And then you would do -W. And -W simply means that whatever output is going to be generated, it's going to be written to a file, right? And that's what you're going to be doing. I'm going to call my list txt. And whatever results are going to be written to this file, right? That's why you would use -W. Then you would use -D, and that's going to be how many pages, if we look for that, are going to be crawled, or the crawler, the spider, is going to crawl through those pages, right? If you just leave it as the default, it is 2, the tool automatically is going to look into, it's going to crawl through 2 pages. That's the default. But you can specify how many, right? You could do, I don't know what the max is, to be honest with you, but maybe 20, but that's going to take a long time, right? So let me do it again. -W, that's going to be my list txt, and then we're going to do -D, and this is going to be the number, the value is going to be a number, so we're going to do 3. And then the M represent, if we go here, the minimum word length that you want to capture on that site, or that the crawler is going to be looking at all that information of the site, and it's going to be selecting the number of the words based on that criteria that we're using, the minimum length that we want, and we can say 7, right, just to make it fast. After that, obviously, you have to specify the site that you want to perform this search on, and you could do make sure it's not going to be redirecting that if the site is responding on HTTPS, you use it, or HTTP. And then we can say, let's say CNN.com, right? And remember, so this is the command that is going to do the crawling. This is the list of the output that we want to create. This, the D and the number 3 represent the depth of the searches that the command is going to be doing. And the M and the value represents the minimum length, the minimum word length that we want to extract of this site. In this case, it could be any other site. So I'm going to hit enter, and that's going to do its magic. So I'm going to pause the video for some time because it's going to take a couple of minutes for this to finish, and then we'll continue once this is done. Okay, so we're back, and I stopped the command because it was taking too long. And now let's look at the list that was created. So cat my list, and as you could see, here's the list of words that were extracted from the website based on the criteria that I used, that is a minimum length of 7 characters. So as you can see, now we have the data to keep keep expanding or adapting the list to our specific needs, right? And again, when it comes to password testing, like, and depending on the tools that you're using, that's going to be as effective as the list that you are using at any given time. Now, you can call this a password list if you want, right? Or you could add or update some characters on this list depending on your needs and what you are looking for. And as you could see, this is going to become really maybe a complex process because you have to customize to make your job easier when it comes to password testing, right? If you only relied on publicly available lists, which is great, but you have to understand your target. That's why part of a good security assessment is to understand your target. You have to understand what, like common things that they're doing. So that's part of how do you call that? Social engineering, right? So you have to look into that as you do this. So let's move on. So now we have a list that we have extracted, and this is something that I paused, remember. We extracted that list from CNN. And you could apply this to any site, right? Like in your organization or another organization that you're performing an assessment. You could do that and then, try to use it to see if it's possible. But when it comes to password testing, you have to remember that there are usually two parts included in it. One of them is the password, of course, but that password needs to be tied to an account. So when you do some type of credential testings that you need to know the credentials, meaning the in this case the username, and then you're trying to guess the password. That's usually what would like the common thing, because credentials are pretty much easy to find, right? Like they are publicly available, and usually depending on the system that you're using, they are your email address, and then you have to guess the password. But there are tools that are gonna also allow you to create user account and user credentials, and one of them is a user name generator. So let me come here. I'll leave the description of the GitHub repo or the link on the description below. And these are tools that are going to allow you to create possible usernames based on your criteria, whatever criteria you are using. And the criteria is going to be a username. For instance, let's say that I would like to find possible usernames for a user. Like I know the first name and the last name, and I want to find out possible usernames for that user. And it's a pretty simple process, by the way. Like if you've been in IT, you know that usually is first initial last name, or first initial dot last name, or there's a combination like that, right? Or like first name dot last name or something like that. That could be the username. But there are tools like this is one of the tools that is going to automate the process for you. And the criteria that we're going to use is generating that based on a list of users that we want to have. So the first thing that you need is a list of users. So let's create a list real quick in here. So we're gonna go Jorge Posada, and then we're gonna do the Yankees, right? That txt, and then we are gonna add another user to that list. Let me come here. And you get the concept, right? So if we do Yankees, if we see the content of that, we're going to see that we have two usernames in that list. So by using user generator, which is just a Python script, we're going to be able to get this information or these users, and based on the logic that is on the script, it's gonna generate possible, or it's gonna generate usernames for us to consider. So we can do Python 3 in this case, username generator, and then we point to the list that we would like to use. In this case is yankees.txt. When we do that, the script, okay, what do we have here? Oh, I mistyped Python. I put Python. Okay. As you could see, based on these two usernames that we have, the system generated what it believes. Actually, it generated usernames. Whether they're valid or not, that's another story. But as you could see, it's gonna make your job easier because you don't have to be guessing too many things, and you could do that, right? Now, you can do this using the script, or again, you can go to chatgpt or Gemini and also have that information. So let me come here. So one of my prompts here is generate a list of possible common email names for Victor Guzman. And as you could see, it generated 20 possible emails. Now, I would prefer, in my case, to use some type of AI tool for that, because this information that we see here was obtained on one way or another from learning about information out there, right? So as you could see, it shows me more combinations than the combinations that it shows me here using the Python script. And this is where you have to start thinking outside the box, which is a tool that is going to make more sense to you. But as I always say, don't rely on only one tool, rely on multiple tools to either validate the results of one tool or to give you more information about what you would like to do. Now, these are tools, again, that you can use to create password list or user list or any type of list based on any criteria. Remember that with where is it? Right here. With cewl, you can create list based on a site. So the script is gonna go through different pages on the site and it's gonna extract information. Something that you have to keep in mind is that it may be time consuming depending on what you're using. On this test, I put a minimum of 7 words, and there are a lot of words that are above 7 characters or 7 characters or more. So that's something else that you have to keep in mind. And you will use these tools with other tools, or you use this list, I should say, with other tools that are going to rely on lists to perform specific tasks, such as Hydra or any other password testing tool that we're going to be talking about in the future. So I hope this video was useful information to you. If you think so, why don't you declare that by just clicking on the like button, consider subscribing to the channel, and why not leave a nice comment. And I hope that you have an amazing day, and I'll talk to you on the next video.